Hi again. Here we are looking at repetition and how repetition is used to its greatest effect when you're talking about rhetoric, right? Or the study of effective speaking. So we're going to look at repetition in the context of Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech from 1963. Going through here, we see the speech doesn't really take repetition to a great level until about halfway through. We've got some repetition here. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time. So now is the time is repeated 3 times, really calling the audience not to physical arms, but like it's a charge. Hey, get ready. Now's the time. Now's the time. Now's the time. 3 times it's repeated. Going down further through the speech, he talks about those people who are asking the devotees of civil rights or racial equality, when will you be satisfied? And he says, we can never be satisfied as long as. We can never be satisfied as long as. We cannot be satisfied as long as. We can never be satisfied as long as. We hear the word satisfied over and over and over again. When will you be satisfied? We won't be satisfied as long as we can't get lodging. We won't be satisfied as long as we can't move out of the ghetto. We won't be satisfied as long as our children can't have a brighter future like the children of other Americans, which I think he references a little further down here. Yep, cannot be satisfied while blacks feel they don't have anything to vote for. We are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until what? Here we get it, the result. We won't be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty river. 2 similes used very effectively here. When you're thinking about rolling water, that's a lot of water moving. All right, it's roaring, it's ripping, it's tearing, it's moving quickly. It's not a little stream in your backyard. This is a roaring river. All right, and righteousness like a mighty stream. Right, they're not messing around with these streams. These are mighty streams. Looking at more examples of repetition. King says, hey, we all came here to rally together and to regroup and refocus and re-energize ourselves, but we have to go back to our hometowns and stand up for what's right. He says, go back to Mississippi, go back to Alabama, go back to South Carolina, go back to Georgia, go back to Louisiana, go back to the slums. He says, go back over and over and over and over again, saying you have to take this message and take it where it counts. Back to your homes, because that's where we're going to have the greatest impact. He says, I have a dream. I still have a dream, the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will live up to its claim that all men are created equal. I have a dream that everyone will sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that we will have a transformation in this country. I have a dream that my kids are going to have a better life and not be judged for being black, but by being the people who they are. I have a dream. I have a dream that one day. I have a dream today. He's talking about this dream over and over and over and over and over. So we know he's talking about dreams that he has. He's talking about freedom. He's talking about letting freedom ring further down here. Let freedom ring. These sentences, let freedom ring from here. Let freedom ring from there. Let freedom ring from everywhere. All of these sentences here start with let freedom ring from until we get to the last sentence. And then this instance of repetition, let freedom ring, is not the beginning or the introductory phrase for the sentence, but it is the actual content of the sentence, the full sentence. From every mountainside, phrase, let freedom ring. Okay? So these are examples of repetition within his speech. And this very last sentence, we get our final, most powerful repetition instances. Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. He's talking about the future, the dream, when we will say we truly are free at last. So these are instances of repetition. You can't listen to the speech, you can't look at the speech without noticing that it's a message about freedom. It's a message about equality. It's a message about a dream for a greater tomorrow and a greater nation and a greater future. Okay, we aren't satisfied. And he goes on to, enumerate why not and how that can be solved. So repetition is what you walk away thinking about afterwards. Martin Luther King Jr. does a fantastic job of utilizing repetition within his speech, and it sticks with us when we leave.